Hello everyone. Good morning from me, and this should be episode 3 of me yapping. So, today's topic, I want to talk about picking what to trade. So, I've come to realize that when it comes to trading, how you trade, like your strategy is important, of course, but what you pick to trade is also just as important. Like, let me give an example. Imagine, let's say the news. Like for example, tomorrow have, let's say, Australian dollar news, you know, linked to Australia, and you decided to trade euro instead. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just that there won't be as much volatility as the Australian pair. You know what I'm saying? Like, there won't be as much money or much liquidity since all the money is focused on Australian pair. So trading, so choosing a pair is also just important. Even in crypto too. Like what I used to think is that, oh, because Bitcoin is going up, then everything else should be going up. I mean, that is true to a certain degree, but what I'm trying to say is that even though it's going up, but you could be making more money if you choose the right one. I mean, personally, I just choose the safe, maybe like top three market cap, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. But for people who want more gain, maybe they decided to choose altcoin, which altcoin to trade is very important too, because sometimes Bitcoin could be like pumping, like yesterday, and then the other altcoin couldn't be performing as much. For example, let's take this here, it went up. Let's doing New York AM session, while if you look at Binance yesterday in the New York session, it just went this the entire time until New York end, and then it pumped. So most people might have already been like discouraged, like, this thing's going nowhere, and then it got stopped out or something along the way. Maybe like one of this week, you know what I'm saying? Like one of this week got stopped them out and shit. And maybe you look at some other examples. For example, like maybe like Solana or XRP. Look at XRP, absolutely clean, no, not really any pullback. Look at it, look at it, beautiful. My God, it just went boom, 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 just keep going up. So today, I remember, I remember doing so many times when I was trading like altcoin, like smaller cap, like I remember like Move or something or Fartcoin. I remember when Bitcoin was pumping, Ethereum was pumping, everything pumped, and then the altcoin just did nothing. It was it was quite devastating since I could earn so much more money, but I picked the wrong one, so my time, so I waited for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like I just invested and invest in this coin, spend a lot of time looking at it, preparing for setup, and it just does nothing. Or maybe just gain very little profit compared to what I could have potentially gained. That's why it's also very important to pick the right pair to trade, whether it's in forex or it's in gold. I look at the news. Alright, so let's see the news. For example, here. On Wednesday, we have Australian dollar AUD news at 7:30. Imagine, and then if you're supposed to focus on Australian pair, eh, and if you trade like maybe like euro or something instead, it wouldn't be the same because the gain, the volatility, the pump isn't gonna be all focused on Australian pair. That's why it's just as important to pick the right pair to trade. And, it goes. You need both of it. The strategy, of course, important, but picking the right thing to trade is just as important because it could really affect how much money you could potentially earn. Well, that's all for today. I'd like to thank you everyone for tuning in and listening.